Welcome to yet another edition of Agribiotech, a program focused on the significance of agricultural biotechnology to Nigeria. I am Lara Afolayo. On last week's episode of the program, a researcher from Nigeria's Agricultural Research Institute spoke with us on research and agricultural biotechnology. Today, we shall be continuing that conversation with a plant scientist from the Institute for Agricultural Research of the Ahmadu Bello University in Zaria. But first, we begin with a look at agricultural biotechnology stories making the rounds in parts of the world. The United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization FAO's Commission on Genetic Resources for Food and Agriculture has released a study which warns that the biodiversity on which the world's food security depends is in steep decline. The report, titled "The State of the World's Biodiversity for Food and Agriculture," states that climate change, land use change and pollution are causing biodiversity loss. It also notes that of the 6,000 plant species that have been cultivated for food, only 9 account for 66% of total crop production. This report is the first of its kind, while the FAO has previously published global assessments of the genetic resources of crop plants, livestock and forest trees. The National Climate Change and Adaptation Officer at the Food and Agriculture Organization, Emmanuel Ziwa, says farmers in sub-Saharan Africa are changing crop choices to get around climate change and its effects. The FAO official advises the region's countries to maximize the situation by aggressively fast-tracking the more precise breeding methods through agriculture biotechnology to develop climate-resistant varieties. He adds that the farmers are transitioning and beginning to see agriculture as more than subsistence. The region's farmers are seen as looking at growing commercial agro-processing and value addition for more income generation. The United States Trade Representative's chief agriculture negotiator, Greg Dood, says the European Union is using non-science-based trade protectionist measures in the area of farm imports. The U.S. agriculture official, in describing the European Union's import policies, says it is shocking to see the direction Europe is heading when it comes to the use of science and technology in agriculture. He was speaking at the National Grain and Feed Association's annual convention in Amelia Island, Florida. Farm production in the EU is subsidized, and measures, including controls on approvals of genetically modified products, help keep some American goods from going in. Pests and diseases pose a huge challenge to food output. Reports have it that pests damage 40% of global food production, while diseases destroy 10% of world food. Scientists say agricultural biotechnology could help address this issue. Malnutrition remains a significant problem for Africa, and estimates suggest that 200 million people on the continent lack adequate nutrition as a result of drought, civil unrest, sanitation problems, and crop-destroying pests and insects. A 2017 report by the World Health Organization said undernutrition is still persistent and the number of stunted children has increased. Scientists say one of the best hopes for solving this problem is the use of genetic engineering to fortify existing crops with nutritional enhancements. The best known of these crops is the golden rice, enriched with vitamin A, which has been under development since the 1990s. Scientists say it has the potential to offset vitamin A deficiency, a leading cause of childhood blindness in developing nations. The World Health Organization has classified vitamin A deficiency as a public health problem, affecting 48% of children aged 6 months to 59 months in sub-Saharan Africa. Thus far, no nation has yet approved the rice for commercial release, but that could change soon, with Bangladesh moving towards releasing in the mid-2009. An analysis by the Copenhagen Consensus Center suggests that if 30% of the population of Bangladesh would adopt golden rice as part of their regular diet, it would reduce vitamin A deficiency by roughly 30%. It would also decrease stunting by 3%. Researchers across Africa are exploring a variety of nutritionally enhanced crop, including cassava. The virus-resistant and nutritionally enhanced cassava project VECA is a program to produce a genetically engineered cassava, not only resistant to the brown streak and mosaic diseases, but is also nutritionally fortified. Although cassava is an excellent source of calories, it does not contain sufficient levels of key nutrients such as zinc and iron to meet daily recommended requirements, especially for women and children. In Nigeria, 75% of preschool children and 67% of pregnant women are anemic, and in sub-Saharan Africa, an estimated 24% of the population is at risk of zinc deficiency. The VECA program has developed and successfully tested a virus-resistant cassava that has 10 times the amount of zinc and iron than a conventional cassava plant. Field tests will be conducted in Nigeria, and if they are successful, the cassava could be commercialized. The Africa Biofortified Sorghum Project is developing nutritionally fortified, genetically modified sorghum. By tonnage, sorghum is the second largest crop in Africa after corn. More than 300 million people in sub-Saharan Africa rely on the crop as their largest source of calories. Scientists have been able to genetically modify sorghum to boost the levels of vitamin A. 3 successful confined field trials of the biofortified sorghum were conducted in Nigeria between 2011 and 2013. Further trials are now being conducted with the hope of commercializing the crop soon. Research is also underway on rice, a staple food particularly in West Africa. Many West African countries have given priority to increasing rice production in order to reduce imports, which places a strain on their balance of trade. The nitrogen-use, water-efficient and salt-tolerant rice, also known as the newest rice, is a variety of rice enhanced with genes that boost nitrogen uptake, allows for more efficient water use, and addresses issues of soil salinity. The water-efficient trait of the newest rice allows improved use of water in rice farming, particularly in drought-prone areas. Apart from irrigation challenges that affect rice production in Nigeria, which the newest rice is expected to address, soil salinity is also a big problem. Already confined field trials on the newest rice are ongoing at Nigeria's Cereals Research Institute in Badegi, north-central Nigeria, and the results have been good. Local farmers who have been part of these trials are highly impressed with the variety. The Institute for Agricultural Research of the Ahmadu Bello University in Zaria is involved with agricultural biotechnology research. One research it has carried out successfully in this area is that of the BT cowpea, which has now been granted approval for environmental release by the National Biosafety Management Agency. The Assistant Director Research of the Institute, Professor Boniface Kashina, will be speaking with me shortly on biotechnology and agriculture. And joining me on the program is Professor Boniface Kashina. He is the Assistant Director Research of the Institute for Agricultural Research of the Ahmadu Bello University in Zaria. It's good to have you join me on the program.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
What is your take on the use of genetic modification for agriculture in Nigeria?
Genetic modification for agriculture It is a novel science that enhances the production of crops, improving their quality and quantity. And genetic improvement has been something that has been with us for years. But from the 20th century, science discovered there is a need to enhance the understanding and improve on these crops using scientific means. If you remember our old parents, they used to make selections, but with the coming of science, genetic improvement, and genetic engineering, science provides us with tools whereby we can enhance the productivity of these crops in quantity and in quality.
When you say it is something that has been with us for years, how exactly do you mean?
The issue of improvement of crops has been as old as man himself. But if you're talking of the modern science of it, from the 20th century, the 19th century, 20th century, scientists have come to the understanding that you could manipulate the processes by genetically transferring genes that are of interest, that can improve the quality, the quantity, and then the nutrition of these crops and agricultural produce, and even the services.
Okay. And how exactly does this genetic modification change the quality and quantity of food crops?
Not substantially. Science by nature helps us to understand the genetic makeup of this, either a crop or an animal or microorganism. The functional genes that are available in these organisms and what they do, their limitations. And so what genetic engineering has helped us to do is to see how we can enhance their own usefulness to us, basically.
You have the Institute for Agricultural Research, and yes, I know that quite a number of research on genetic modification has been done in that particular institute. I'd like you to speak on the type of research that has been ongoing there over the last few years.
Well, we've been privileged to be part of a project that researched on the genetic evaluation of what we refer to as the BT cowpea. That is a breeding cowpea to the pot borer resistance. That's Maruca. And what that has done to us is that it has helped us to increase the quantity of cowpea that is being produced, limit the number of times the chemicals are sprayed on this cowpea. And of course, you know, that has a far-reaching impact on the environment as well as the costs of even the farmers.
When you say it has a far-reaching impact, I'd like you to explain what exactly you mean by that.
You know, naturally, you don't grow cowpea. Cowpea is susceptible to many pests and diseases. And you can't grow cowpea successfully without spraying for, say, 6-8 times. But what this science has done is that it has genetically engineered this cowpea in such a way that you limit your sprays to probably 2. And so you are saving costs in terms of the purchase of chemicals, as well as, you know, when you spray these chemicals, you don't have a control on how these chemicals go into the environment. So when you limit the number of sprays, you are invariably limiting the amount of chemical that goes to the environment, and you are saving the environment too. What
impact do you expect it to have on the agricultural sector in Nigeria, particularly in the area of exports? If, for example, we begin to use this technology and we become self-sufficient in agricultural production, what impact do you expect it to have on the export of non-oil commodities, like food, for example, maybe cotton, for example, and even cowpea that has been approved for commercial and environmental release?
Yeah, I expect it to have tremendous impact, because if we're able to have enough for ourselves and surplus then we can now sell to the other world or to the outside world, which attracts foreign exchange to this country. And like you know, it's one of the trusts of this present government to diversify the economy so that we don't just stay on petrol. We diversify, and agriculture holds the key to this diversification.
Okay, agriculture holds the key to this diversification. Yeah. At this point, we have to take a quick break and the program will continue shortly.
All right.
Did you know that genetically modified organisms, GMOs, are safe and do not pose any risk, hazard or danger to human, animal and the environment? Neither do they cause cancer, infertility, sterility, tumor or any adversity. There is safe use of GMO drugs like insulin, vaccine, rapid diagnostic test kits for malaria, HIV, hepatitis and so on. The safety of GMOs is certified by the World Health Organization, WHO, Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO, European Food Safety Authority, EFSA, the National Academies of Science globally, the Royal Society, UK, and over 110 prize Nobel laureates. GMOs are safe, effective, and certified by MBMA in Nigeria.
Welcome back. The program is still Agribiotech, and Professor Boniface Kashina of the Institute for Agricultural Research of the Ahmadu Bello University is still here with me. Thanks for staying with us.
My pleasure.
Talking about the use of genetic modification for agriculture, I wouldn't know how much you know about the use of this technology in other climes, in maybe developed economies of the world, and what experience you could share with us on the program.
Agricultural biotechnology has been a technology that has been in use, most especially developed by the developed world in America, and is gradually coming into the third world.
So following the approval for the commercial release and the environmental release of the BT cotton and the BT cowpea in Nigeria, in your opinion, how can Nigeria make the most of this process, of this development?
We can make the most of it by keying into the already ongoing process. And I think the federal government, realizing that, promulgated or gave a bill, passed a bill into law to establish the Nigerian National Agricultural Biosafety Management Agency to oversee the process of evaluation, the process of release. We have realized that we cannot lag behind. We have to go with the world. And so if we must key into this technology, we have to fall in line. And I think we cannot be left behind because the world is a global village now.
You speak so well of this technology,
yes.
But there are those out there who criticize it. I wouldn't know what your message would be for those who criticize this technology.
So far, for research that has been done, because the process of evaluation and release, a lot of risk analysis is done, environmental as well as food, to ensure that whatever is released is not harmful to man, is not harmful to the environment. And so far reports have indicated in the positive. So I don't have anything against it. And if you come to look at it, our population is growing, the land is shrinking, agricultural land I mean. So we do need technologies like this that will increase the production of our own crops, increase the yield, and again also improve the quality of what we eat.
The term genetic modification may be too advanced for many out there who are probably watching this. So if you will explain what this process is to a layman out there, what will be your message?
Genetic modification is nothing like but just transferring a gene from one crop or animal to a related crop or a related animal that is lacking, either to enhance its ability or to remove some toxical or toxins. There is something we call reverse genetics or RNA, reverse genetics. Toxins, allergens in certain crops. These technologies have actually helped to remove them by genetic engineering, and as well as also improve on the nutritional status of these technologies. You've heard of golden rice. It's a genetically modified rice which has the ability to enhance our consumption of vitamin A, which is key to stemming the tide of blindness that a lot of us, or a lot of the world, has been suffering with, especially the developing world.
Okay, from my understanding of this technology, it has been used in medicine, in the production of vaccines.
Yes.
I wouldn't know what knowledge you have of that and what you could share with us.
Biotechnology has a lot of implications in the world of medical science. We're talking of stem cells, taking a tissue, a clean tissue, literally growing it up to replace a degenerative tissue and replacing it completely, which is a plus. Even in the area of consumption, there is something we call edible vaccines. We've discovered that there are people that have problems with taking tablets. And so like if you produce the vaccine, you could parcel it into something like bananas that we can easily eat, or a fruit. So people take these things without having any negative impact, and then they get their problems solved.
And just before you go, what will be your final word on the use of biotechnology for agriculture in Nigeria?
Biotechnology is a science that we cannot afford to stay back. We have to fall on and fall along the line. And I think it requires the cooperation of everybody that wants to see agriculture taking its rightful place in this country.
Thank you very much for joining us.
It's my pleasure.
And my guest has been Professor Boniface Kashina, the Assistant Director Research of the Institute for Agricultural Research of the Ahmadu Bello University in Zaria, speaking on the use of biotechnology for agriculture in Nigeria. We'll take a quick break and Agribiotech continues shortly. Do stay with us. And next, we take a look at this email from Ade Williams, who wants to know the average yield of the BT cowpea variety per hectare if farmed under good practices compared with non-genetically modified varieties. I have a response to that inquiry from the Open Forum on Agricultural Biotechnology, OFAB, Nigeria. And that brings us to the end of today's program. Send your emails to agribiotech1@yahoo.com. Send us tweets at agribiotech13 or post comments on the Facebook page Agribiotech on TVC. I am Lara Folayo. Goodbye.